So, little bit of a hiccup, little tiny bit of a hiccup. Now is not actually the leg day workout that's going to be shown in just a couple of minutes. This is the morning afterward. In terms of delayed onset muscle soreness, not an insane amount. So maybe I didn't kill it hard enough, but that was about right. That was a pretty good leg day, just to sum it up, especially looking at it from hindsight. Yeah, I made a pretty solid decision to stick with leg press instead of try to do a like a Smith squat or something else at this gym. Yeah, that was good. Plus a little bit of supersetting action for later. But that's not what I'm going to talk about at this exact very moment. Where am I headed to now? Well, almost the same place, but not for a weight-based workout, right? I've got 30 minutes of camping out on the seated bike, followed by a little bit of sauna exposure. And not necessarily because I think it's like insanely super necessary for my recovery or anything else like that. It does just fucking feel cool to do the sauna after a after cardio in the morning. Get a little bit of extra sweat going on. But I can't stress it enough, man. I mean, you're just missing out. And frankly, I can. That's not me just saying it because I've been there. I've simply done periods of times of regular lifting where there was no cardio involvement whatsoever. And yeah, my lift suffered. Frankly, it was harder to eat as much food as I needed to keep bulking up. My endurance during my training was much scrappier, especially actually like I'd have so I would bike to class a while ago, right? When I was still at school, and I had one class which was pretty much on the complete opposite side of town. And for my apartment, it wasn't. My campus wasn't flat. It was a big ass fucking hill. So I'd have to zip if I was late. I'd have to zip up this hill, down the hill, park the bike, walk in. I'd be huffing and puffing for a little fucking while afterward. But when I was doing my cardio on a consistent fucking basis, that let's just say that cardiovascular limitation began to fucking fade. So, just a little word of warning, just a little word of caution. If you're not doing your cardio, frankly, I think you're going to regret it. And I'm not talking to you as a bodybuilder or as a lifter or anything else. I'm talking to you as a guy, right? I mean, frankly, it's a use it or lose it type situation. But that's enough of my little CPSA, cardio PSA. I'm starting to see it a lot now. I am really starting to see all the fucking winter arc lock-in last 3 months of the year. Let's kick it into gear posts. And anybody who's been working out for a while, I was actually I kind of had a longer talk about this earlier on the drive home from the gym last night. I kind of just messed up the camera, but it's just all talk, man. I was really getting into anybody who is actually doing what it takes, right? Anybody who's really actually doing their cardio, actually tracking their macros, actually counting their calories and training hard, and not just saying they're training hard, like they legitimately kill it. I mean, when guys like that see all these new winter arc, every, I'm going to lock in kind of posts, not a lot of substance there. But I would never want to say that those posts should just disappear. Because anytime there's anything that's like a kind of a cue for motivation, I really like that. I've said this a couple times. New Year's, spring break, I guess winter arc, that's kind of a newer one. And then, I don't know. I don't hear much about locking in during the summertime. Frankly, most of the gyms I go to, once July and August roll around, or I guess June and July roll around, a lot of the gyms are going to be a little more empty. Everybody's just being active out in the world, which is fucking sweet, right? But every time there's a moment like that, even though a lot of guys are just, making the same posts that they've said forever, it's like, okay, this year, I don't even know what they say. Imagine like some of the corniest shit you ever heard. But a percentage of those guys who do post that shit actually do make it happen. And that's the cool part, right? I mean, every year there's a whole new class of lifters who've never really gotten into working out before. And of those, I know there are a couple fucking superstars waiting in the fucking making. And I don't even mean just like bodybuilding. I mean, don't forget, it's not all about just being a massive fucking bodybuilder, right? I mean, even just being a lean 180 is fucking awesome, you know. So that's where sometimes I look back at some of the Callum von Moger videos or a lot of the Rich Piana videos and stuff, and that's not because theirs are like way better than everybody else's, but that was just who I was watching when I started working out. And I can't necessarily remember any specific quotes, but well, I guess Rich is pretty classic, right? Yeah, I bet that's where I got the cardio mindset instilled into me. Oh, if Rich does his cardio, I should do it too. But it's I'm sure they were thinking, out of the however many people who are watching their workouts, a couple of them would, come up and get some legit fucking gains. Maybe not even a couple, probably a fucking ton. But now I'm just getting off on my own sort of ramble. So every time there's a new influx of motivation to work out, which is basically nationwide, I love it. I'm all fucking for it. The issue is, that 80% of guys who are just saying it to say it, right? You put on your new clip lifting belt, 2 knee sleeves, some PR wrist wraps, and you go for a 2-plate Smith machine 1 rep max on bench. Come on, you'd be better off spending all that time and energy just really just buying like a set of 30-pound dumbbells from Walmart, put them in your basement or just right next to your desk, and then every time you're sitting there just playing on your computer or messing around, just curl them every so often. It's been a little while since I brought it up, but that was my upbringing, so before I actually got into working out for real, gym, I don't even know how many gym memberships I have right now. I think 6 or something. I gotta cancel one because it's like too far away. I never go to it. But before all that kind of started, right, there was no workout. I didn't know jack. So my introductory period was my dad had a set of dumbbells in the basement, 5s to 50s. Now I could not curl the 50s at the time, as I was a 160-pound 16-year-old, but I could do a couple of mean sets with the 30s. So I think I've got to go back through all my old like phones and stuff to get all these pictures, do like a full kind of transformation. But that was it. I had a mirror, so I just sit there and do like sets of bicep curls, nothing else. No shoulder raises, no tricep kickbacks. Didn't even know about it, right? All I know is if you want bigger biceps, curl some dumbbells. So after doing that for long enough, I got a little bit more of an itch. I had my dad order some horse stall mats. Actually, I didn't even get a power rack at first. I got like these $120 weight stands where it's 2 individual uprights that you would unrack the bar onto. Yeah, if you're looking at getting some kind of home gym setup like that, like just something simple for like a rack, do not get those weight stands. Those are fucking dangerous. You can get like a $300 I don't know the exact name of it, but just like a scrappy squat rack. It's nothing like a Rogue or like a Hammer Strength or whatever, but it is enough to hold hundreds of fucking pounds. I mean, look at actually I'm pretty sure Eric Bugenhagen has one of the racks that I have in my basement, and you should see the amount of weight he's fucking slamming onto that thing. But that was just the progression, right? Slow, steady. I wasn't really trying to find like the perfect workout split in the beginning, because a lot of the basics, we already all know the gist. How to get bigger biceps? Do heavy curls. How to get a bigger chest? Do heavy bench. How to get a bigger back? Do pull downs and pull ups. How to get bigger legs? Leg extensions, or maybe not rows. Leg extensions, squats, leg press. What should you eat if you want to get big muscles? Well, probably a lot of protein. Probably, I guess the stigma of the chicken and rice I don't think is the perfect, complete answer, but it's still a good fucking answer. So, a lot of it, we all get the gist of. And this will be my last little thing before we cut to the workout and I go do my cardio before we come back on the drive home. But I think everybody is pretty much at least reasonably capable of getting hyped up and excited about working out, right? I mean, if you watch the first time you watch Rocky 4, when Sly is fucking trudging through the snow with a big ass log and they're doing all the workouts and you're dude, I mean, it's just everything, right? That'll get you going. Now the issue is the percentage of guys who build up that kind of hype and excitement. It's not correlated to the amount that actually make it happen. You know, everybody can watch everybody can get a what else is there? Oh yeah, the Olympics. I guess that's it. Man, that's not as good. Oh, let's just stick to the Rocky analogy, right? Everybody can watch a Rocky training montage and get a little bit excited, and like they can imagine themselves doing a bunch of crutches and sprints and everything else. But 20 minutes pass, and now it's time. Okay, do I really want to do that? And then, you know, boom, never happens. A failure to launch, in all honesty. But it's not a complete failure, right? I mean, it's more so to just continue that path. And I feel eventually something has to click, which I think it always does. Eventually, everybody does get a little bit of a motivation, like, okay, not as lean as it was back in high school. Not as, you know, looking back at maybe your old, like, football senior pictures or anything else. Eventually, you're going to have to say, okay, I'm going to make this shit happen again. I'm getting back into it. And I see a ton of comments like that, where it's like, Sam, I've been working out or I was working out for 10 years, got kind of distracted with, you know, a couple, I think that's more the story part of things. And the end of the comment, been working out the last 6 months, killing it, already down 20 pounds. That is the fucking story I want to hear. That is sick. But eventually, I think everybody should have that kind of little bit of a click. The problem is if you don't have it soon enough, time's gonna run out. You've only got so much, you know what I'm saying? And it's flowing. I really like saying this, or not even just saying it, but also like thinking it to myself. It's like, dude, you really do only have so much time to make some of this shit happen. And that time is gonna flow by anyway. So you may as well try, right? I mean, what's the alternative? Right? Playing your phone for 6 hours a day during your free time? Not awesome. Not awesome in my fucking opinion. But I've got 30 minutes worth of seated bike cardio to get finished. And then for you, you can watch the, well, unless you're just here for the car talks, which you'll probably skip forward to drive back. But next up is legs, which I feel pretty good about that leg day. I think I need to make another trip to American Barbell for my next one, because I just love the leg press they have over there. Like it's insane how much I like that one more than just like a general like sled loaded leg press like the one I did or the one I'm gonna do in a couple minutes for you. So is it worth the 40-minute drive? I think so. I'm inclined to believe so. But I guess I'll catch you in the gym. I guess I gotta find out when I get home and fucking look at all this stuff on the computer. Does this look any different? Honestly, probably not. I'm not joking. There's a very diminishing return when it comes to like buying more expensive camera shit. But if there's a tiny return, cool for me. Plus now I'm a whole fucking camera nerd. But when it comes to this set, I want to start with some heavy, and heavy is like within reason, curls seated. So I'm kind of working my way up the stack. I kind of bounce around with 50 pounds, then 60 pounds, then 70 pounds. So now let's see what, and that was single leg. So that is 190 feel. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's a warm up. That's me doing 3 reps of a weight, getting used to it a little bit, feeling some tension, stopping, and then getting ready to do it again, slightly heavier. So the next one will be 20 pounds or 220, 250, 260. And then whenever I say, okay, that's as heavy as I can go, I'll do the first real set. But that'll take a minute, so I guess I'll see you for set number 1. 250. is the sweet spot. Not 235, not 260, and definitely not the full stack at 305. And the reason for that is I think 250 is about the sweet spot. Just by the feeler reps, I know by the time I get 12-ish, 10-ish, a full rep with a squeeze at the bottom is going to get tricky. And then I'll start doing, kind of partial reps to failure, failing probably 15, 16 of those. Might give myself a little self-assistance, but it's a weight where I'm aiming for a 12 rep set, or at least 12 complete reps, or I guess should I say 12 repetitions. But that's where I think it's a little kind of poorly explained when I see workouts that are written out like, oh, this is, do 12 sets of three sets of 12 reps of curls, then four sets of 20 reps of preachers. And like, what does that mean? 20, that doesn't mean jack. Like you can do 20 reps of a 5-pound dumbbell. It's not going to do it for you. So I think there should always be an asterisk next to those workouts, like 4 sets of 12. Pick a weight where you can barely get 12. Pick a weight where you can barely get 15. Kind of things like that. Like that's where the guys where they say, okay, I want to take every set to failure, have a better idea. Because, a set of 12 can be as easy or as hard as you want to make it, depending on what weight that you pick. And also, how you execute the set. I can pick half the weight I'm about to do, but if I do the reps extremely slowly, I could probably get the same number of reps just because the reps are different. But either way, let's make this one nuts and get started on a good step. Okay. Okay. One more just like that at least. Maybe 2 more even. I'll actually go 1 notch heavier. That was a little lighter than expected. Okay. Whew. Okay. Let's do the same weight, but make this next set a little more rapid instead of as slow and controlled. All right, come on. Then 1 extra notch heavier. A little stronger than expected. All right. Oh my God. Holy crap. Whew. That was good. A nice little birdish rep to counter the slower controlled ones. But I think my plan now is some hip hinging. Let's do some RDLs, goddammit. 2 45-pound plates on either side. And this is not a curling max. This just happens to be pretty much the perfect height for RDLs. And then there actually is probably a touch of actual benefit from using this easy bar, because now I've almost got a slight gap where I can put the bar a little closer to my shins. Whereas if it was a straight bar, I'd just fucking run into myself and I won't have as much fun. Really, I like cable RDLs better when I have 2 cable arms sitting by me side by side, because then I can bend perfectly straight down and have my knees behind, or my hands behind my knees to do them. With a barbell or even with dumbbells, you kind of have to have them work around your knees themselves. But I barely ever see that kind of cable setup to use, so this is a close second. But this is not as hefty as I can move, but it is enough weight where I can actually seriously squeeze my hamstrings as hard as I can. Okay. Oh my gosh. One more. Okay. Oh my gosh. Let's do a set of laying curls, I think. Whew, those were good though. So even though that was only 2 plates, plus a 25-pound bar, not a 45-pound bar like normal, that was still a pretty hefty set. So for this one, I think I've totally got 2 sets in me. So for the first one, I think I'll start with a squeezing, torturous set of single leg alternating reps. There we go, that's probably as heavy as I can manage. So what I mean by that is, instead of a typical pick a weight, do it with both legs to total failure, this will be pick a weight, 5 reps on one side, 5 on the other, and it's within reason. So I don't want to just smack it around. It's not going to do anything for me. I do want to go slow, get to the top, like imagine this is my hamstring, have a big squeeze, full stretch, and by the time I go back and forth, honestly, maybe just 3 times, they're going to be cooked. And then maybe finish with a double leg, kind of a, maybe in a drop set. I guess we'll find out. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Let's finish with the nasty drop set. Double leg. Let's start with 150 and go from there. I was only doing 40 on one leg, so that would have been the equivalent of 80 with both. Yeah, 200, not gonna fucking happen. This will be a good starter weight though. So, assuming I have some stuff left in the tank after this portion, I drop the weight, burn out, then switch gears to quads. Oh yeah, that's good. Hey. Okay. Ooh. Hamstrings done. Oh my gosh. Now I feel like the real part of legs can start. This is honestly just like a warm-up in comparison to how quads feels. Very similarly to how hamstrings started, which I didn't really show you, but it was really just me doing a few reps with basically no weight. I mean, 50 pounds, single leg. I'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who's lifted for a while where that was their working set. No hate if it is, though. I'd go hard anyway. But started there, 50, 70, 80, 100, 120, 130, 145, 160. 160 is about as hefty as I want to go. Again, this is my first movement for quads. It's not only a working set, which I want it to be, but it's also serving as a warm-up before I move into anything that's a little more tension, kind of stressing on my whole kind of combination of MCLs, FLCLs, fucking patellas in here. But this is a weight which is heavy enough that I'll be able to really feel it, but light enough that after my small kind of warm-up, it feels good on my knees. Because the last thing I want to do is like launch up to 200 pounds, start trying to fucking rip it like a beast. And then for the rest of the leg day, and then for the rest of the coming months, I go, oh, my knees are really sore. It's like, no freaking wonder, right? You know, use your freaking noggin here. But let's get amped up. This is going to be a very controlled set of left leg followed by right leg. No alternating here. I'm just talking straight failure. At least as close as I can get. Oh my God. Two more. Next one will be one notch heftier. Oh, goodness. Oh, gosh. One more. And then we'll switch to some kind of pressing. One more hefty one. And I'm not sure what kind of pressing I'll do first. Probably not Smith squat, but I wouldn't put myself past it. Let's focus on what's at hand, though. Yeah. 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 Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. That was a good 3 starter reps or starter sets. But I think I just had an awesome idea. If your leg extension machine has foam that's too solid or not solid enough and you just feel like you're pushing the metal, what if you wore soccer shin guards underneath your sweats? That could be something. Because honestly, my shins were getting a little tender just then. Something to think about. I'm sure I'm not the first person to think that, but that's actually a good idea. Might catch me in the fucking soccer section of dicks. But let's move on. Quads are already getting pumped, and any pressing is gonna fucking eviscerate them, I'm sure. So I have a small, not serious, but small predicament. Is I think I'm stronger than I want to be on leg press. I think if I go higher than 8 plates right now, I'm gonna pay for it with having sore knees, which I don't want. I think 8 plates is probably about the limit. It might even be a little too heavy, but I think it's close enough where I'm not hurting myself. But I don't know how many reps I could do of 8 plates. And if you've ever done heavy leg press, like pretty fucking heavy leg press, you'll know, dude, beyond 20 reps gets insanely difficult. And I think difficult in a way which isn't actually more beneficial than if you just did a heavy set of like 15, you know? Like, where's the diminishing returns? I've heard stories of guys where they've done like 100 reps of flies, and the guy was like, yeah, it was an awesome set, bro, totally pumped. Dude, you are lying to me, and worst of all, you're lying to yourself. So, a good fix for being a little stronger than you like, pre-exhaust with something. So this is just 25 pounds on either side of this little fancy like plate-loaded leg extension. So I think I'm just gonna do 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, maybe like 2, 3 times. And then once my quad's already a little bit fatigued, I'm not talking failure, but enough, then I'll pop a squat, bust out some reps in the leg press. And it should, let's just say I should jumpstart that level of fatigue. And I could not foresee more than 20 reps. But I guess we'll see what happens. You know, if I get amped up, who knows, maybe we're in for a fucking 30 rep set. Okay. Alright. Okay. One more like that. At least. Whew. Might need to go a little heavier on the leg extension though. I'm gonna add a 10. Okay. Okay. One more. Whew. Oh, this is a sweet superset. Oh, I guess pre-exhaustion set is probably a better descriptor. Let's do a double leg set as the pre-exhauster. With a different song. Okay, that's good. Kind of hard to stay balanced. Oh my god. Oh, okay. this is fucking scary. Ah. Ah. I think that's enough of that. I'm sure that's actually highlighting some of my fucking quad imbalances, how one leg is going a little higher than the other. Let's move on now. This one extra plate actually felt pretty good. No problems here. As we come from the earth, we shall return. As we come from the leg extension machine, we shall finish with it. Honestly, after those 3 sets of leg press finishers, I don't anticipate much need for any more than this one set. Now that's assuming I make it a good one. Now let me see, do I want to do a sissy squat? No. Feels a little funky right now. But I'm going to finish off with, well, pretty similar as what I was doing earlier. Like those sets where I just did 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. I'll just do the same thing here. But this will be a little bit different because I'm not just gonna like blast through reps. These are gonna be a little bit more methodical. So instead of just pumping them out, I want to start with, actually, well, maybe I'll take another minute before I do this set, actually. I think a little bit more reoxygenation will do me good. But instead of just regular like rep, this one I want to do kind of a half rep pause sort of approach, which honestly I think I like for basically any muscle. Like if you want to change up your training, if you think some of your sets are getting a little stale, adding in this one fucking variation could potentially flip your lift upside down and flip your frown upside down if you weren't having fun. So instead of just regular reps, I'm going to go halfway up, stop, like hold it for a second, and then finish. The benefit there is instead of just riding the momentum, I have to manually contract my quad to get that weight moving again. You know, that's part of the reason why I like, or why I would prefer this leg extension compared to that plate loaded one, or why sometimes I prefer doing even pull downs on some of the adjustable cables instead of a regular like lat pull down cable, is because you build up a lot of momentum with a free weight, right? If I were to sit here, or if you were to see somebody do a bent over dumbbell row with however much fucking weight, they could rip it off the bottom, really get it moving, and an object in motion is going to stay in motion. So they're just going to ride that fucking momentum up. So they can have a lot of tension down here, but once the weight's moving, you can just kind of ride it. You can counteract that by doing slow reps. But sometimes I don't want to do slow reps. So with machines, one of the biggest benefits I feel, beyond just the fact that it's a controlled motion, I don't have to worry about anything else but muscular activation, is it's got a bit of a leverage, you know? Like imagine trying to pick up 50 pounds right off the ground versus having, basically a 2-to-1 actuation lever to do it. You know, like that's why you can lift up a fucking car when you have a car jack, because you move that car jack arm 2 feet, the weight moves up just an inch. So it's a little bit tricky to kind of imagine unless you just know what I'm talking about. But the benefit of that, like the fact that my shins are touching all the way down here, but the cable doesn't actually reach that far, it's like halfway up, is I get a much more constant tension, right? But I just kind of wanted to make some chat so I could have a little bit of an extra rest. But something to think about, you know? So next time you do a movement, feel just how much momentum you can give the weight, right? Like I'd have to really kick this leg extension up to get it to like float for a second. Whereas, you know, if I had that plate loaded one, dude, if it was light enough, I could give it a good kick and it'd probably come around and smack me in the face. So just a little something to think about, right? Your leverages on your machines. But I think I've got enough rest. Left side first, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Maybe a double leg finisher. We'll see what happens, but let's pose that afterward. Right after I pick a better song. Yeah, there we go. Oh. Ugh. 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 Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah, double leg finisher. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Let's go find some lighting. Oh, guys. I would say my legs are pretty freaking pumped. Now, of course, I'm not done after this. I'm just going to go camp out on the adductor machine. But as far as I'm concerned, that was a good one. I'm glad I started doing that sled leg press again. For a long time, I was not a fan of it at all. And I think, hair in my mouth, but I think the reason was I probably did it in such a stupid way when I was younger. Felt a ton of glutes, barely any quads. And I just said to myself, this is stupid. Don't want to do it anymore. Wah. And then basically never fucking came back. What a fucking schmuck, you know? And I'm talking about myself there. So if you know you haven't been doing a certain movement for a while, and it's not for any insanely particular reason, just because maybe the last time you did it, you weren't a huge fan, I say go back. I say go back, try it again, and see what freaking happens, right? But you tell me, just how our quad's looking. Oh. If you were to tell me that I was flat and carb depleted, and then you pointed me at this leg pump, I'm not so sure I'd believe you. So as I get leaner, this will get extra freaky. This side quad into hamstring, is this line will get more and more pronounced. Plus, looking back too, my glutes, just sort of my butt is going to start to shrink because all the fucking fat I got back there is going to start to come off. And then my legs will look extra big because in relation to kind of this angle, these aren't going to shrink as much because the amount of fat I got on my quads is much thinner than the amount that I've got on my about to say booty. But either way, we are on track to some fucking cool ass leg pumps in the future. Now, not that this isn't cool, but I'm talking more like feathering detail, the veins crawling all the way fucking down. That's what I'm extra excited about. And even right now, there's a glimpse. I can almost see a touch of quad feathering. But fast forward a month, fast forward 2 months, 3 months, my legs are gonna look twice as big, even though technically they're actually gonna shrink down. I'm not gonna gain any muscle, but the muscle that I do have will be fucking revealed in its entirety, which kind of goes to show, man, it's not all about fucking size. A 180-pound dude could roll up next to me right now, and if he was diced, if we both run through a fucking pose down, it'd be pretty contentious. I wouldn't totally overshadow him because muscle in and of itself, once it's developed to a point, it's just fucking impressive. If somebody has a massive side chest compared to somebody else, if they're both lean and diced, as far as I'm concerned, both those guys are fucking jacked. But that's just me, of course. And in no way is that look, I want to get bigger for a while. Don't worry. We're not getting close to maximum size, but we are on track. So, nothing else to say? Let's get back in the freaking pump mobile. Go eat something. All right. Cardio complete. But I guess for you, you might have expected me to say legs complete. That was a good one. That was definitely a fucking good one. And something I kind of noticed, which, I mean, now I'm just putting myself back to after the leg workout. But when I'm dieting down, usually I feel like I've almost gotten more endurance during the workout than when I'm fully bulked and carved up. And I think what I really kind of mean by that is the fact that I'm probably not completely eviscerating my quads and hamstrings as much as when I'm a little bit stronger and really carved up. The damage per set is probably just a touch less than, a couple of months ago when I was doing like 700-800 grams of carbs a day. Really fucking just, I mean, there's no better word to say than full carved up and energized. So it gets a little bit more convoluted as to, okay, how much volume do I really need here? Like, do I feel like I'm fully pumped at 6 sets? Do I feel like I should do 2 more? Is 7 the sweet spot? I mean, where is it? But don't stress over it too much, honestly. I mean, if you keep losing sleep over like, okay, how should I do this workout? And like, okay, am I doing this wrong? Or what's the point, man? Just try something for a while and make steady adjustments from there. I've said this a lot, but all of the brunt, like the basic kind of shit, right? Eat your protein, train hard, train every body part twice a week, throw a rest day in there. I mean, that's all been figured out already. You don't have to come up with that, right? It's already been established. So by starting there and then making steady adjustments onward, like let's say maybe Friday just isn't going to work for you for legs. You've only got an hour for your workout, including maybe hour 20 including the drive. So maybe make that a smaller day. Maybe make that just chest or back. A one muscle group lift. Whereas maybe you've got to have something. You've got kind of a heavy whatever on Monday. Maybe don't do legs Sunday night. And maybe save those for Friday so you've got another day to recuperate. There's really a million fucking things that you can do in terms of orienting your training around your life specifically to make it not only more enjoyable but also just more effective. So that's kind of the balancing act, right? Okay, I want to do as much as I can do here, but I've got to be able to make it cohesive with my day so I can keep doing it, right? You want to roll smoothly. If it is a constant like juddering of like, okay, I barely worked out last week, okay, now I'm gonna work out every day this week. Then you do 2 days in a row and you say, okay, that's probably too much. I'll make it a rest day. I mean, I'll hear it. Guys will tell me, yeah, I took a couple months off, just had to chill. I wanted to relax, reset my system. I'm like, dude, reset your system. Reset it to what? Factory settings? You just worked out for like a whole year, and then you took 3 months off. I just don't get it. But like I said on the way here, it's kind of a if you want it, you want it kind of situation. The guys who are really making gains, they don't have to tell you they're going to do it. You watch them fucking go nuts on a set of squats, and then that's kind of the proof in and of itself. If you get what I'm saying there. But I've got a couple hours before I go hit legs later tonight. Or no, before I Before I go hit chest later tonight. I think I'm headed to go to the American Barbell because they've got, maybe we'll see. But I want to do some incline dumbbell bench. I've been doing a lot of incline barbell and Smith machine. Got to change it up a little bit. It's to the point now where I'm kind of thinking about just buying heavy dumbbells, like just buying like a set of like 130s and 150s to bring to this gym because they've got a little bit of a space, a little philanthropy. I don't think I'd get used an insane amount, but that's also another thing you can do. Getting workout equipment for the house, that treadmill that's been sitting in your parents' basement, which is now a coat hanger essentially a shelf. It actually served a purpose once, right, to be used as fucking cardio equipment. I've had a cardio bike at my parents' house for a while in the basement. I don't have room for it in my apartment now, but even in my apartment gym, they've got a little cardio bike I can go to. But if you've got room, I think that's a pretty solid fucking hack. Because half the argument against daily cardio is like, well, then you got to drive to the gym and drive back. It's like, you want me to go to the gym twice in one day? That's crazy talk. So that's where I say, okay, don't go to the gym twice in one day. Do your cardio at home. I don't like it as much though. I think it's because I'm just a freaking gym nut. But I kind of like actually being in, like, going to the gym to do the cardio instead of just, popping the squat right in the living room or the basement. Just not the same vibe. But that's for me. If you're a little bit more on a time crunch, then I think that's probably one of the biggest fucking tricks you can do as a time saver. Because then your cardio. Because then your cardio really will only take 30 minutes. Because it was what? A 2-minute walk from your bed to the, to the bike. I think that's, for some people, that's a little bit too much. But frankly, I think that's just enough. Little railroad crossing here. But other than that, dieting phase is going quite smoothly. And I'll tell you something here. There really is no working around a calorie deficit. So this will be a little deficit tips for anybody curious. But man, it's hard for me to sell it too. Apart from the fact that I just know it works. I mean, tracking your calories is a chore. I do understand that. I'm not just saying like, oh, it's the easiest thing in the fucking world. I mean, it definitely requires some effort, but you actually get better at it over time. I mean, it's to the point now where I don't necessarily need to measure out every gram of everything because I kind of have a good sense for it just by looking. If you weigh out 8 ounces of turkey breast, 50 times, eventually you start to get the gist of it. To the point where whenever I buy one in bulk, where it's like a big, like 5-pound, just whole chunk of a turkey breast, I can cut it like precisely where as soon as I throw it on the scale, 8 ounces, 50 grams of protein, perfect. Or, if you look at like just any food from like a restaurant, if you can kind of judge how buttery it is, or, anything else, like how much bread that is, you do start to get a little bit of a sense for just the amount of foods that you're eating. So I'll get some comments where it'll say like, Sam, I don't know if I should really weigh everything. I mean, you can eat intuitively, right? I can track my calories intuitively. Yeah, I'm not so certain, man. Because you're not just doing like some chore, you're actually fighting against your subconscious as well as your biological needs. Right? Your body is always going to trick you into kind of pleasing it. Right? It's like if you're hungry, your stomach's literally going to tell you you're hungry. It's going to release certain chemicals in your brain to make you think, oh, maybe I should open up the closet. Maybe I should open up the cupboard, get a little something out of there. And before you know it, you just had fucking 80 grams of carbs of goldfish and Cheez-Its, and now your calorie deficit just went out the window. So it really does need a little bit of diligence to the point where, even though it is a little crazy compared to just the regular dude, I think you're missing out. And anybody who's actually lost an insane amount of weight, they probably fucking agree. 9 times out of fucking 10, every time I've ever met somebody where they showed me like an insane fat loss transformation, like, dude, I lost 80 pounds over the last 2 years, bro. Every time I hear that story, so you know about the macros, you get it. And the guy's eyes fucking light up because it's the minority of people who actually really get into it. And half of that, I think, is potentially just fear of sticking out. Nobody wants to be that guy where like you're dieting and I don't really want to go out to eat. I just want to get a small thing because it's counterproductive. Or no, not counterproductive. Counterintuitive, right? To regular kind of, I don't want to say society, but for real. I mean, if you went to like a wedding or like a get together or anything else like that, and everybody's just fucking chowing down food, and maybe you're trying to stick to your deficit, so you just give yourself a small plate, dude. If you work out a little bit, everybody's gonna be, oh, why aren't you eating, man? What are you doing here? Come on, get a little extra. Come on, man, come on. One day isn't gonna hurt you. That really is the fucking kind of mental principles these guys are thinking about. They're like, come on, man, you're always working out, you're always dieting. It's like, one day isn't going to kill you. And then the next day they'll say the same thing, like, come on, it's 2 days isn't going to kill you, 3. And before you know it, if you actually listened, you'd be just as soft as you were before. You'd have made no progress and just kind of wasted your fucking time. So that's where you got to have a little bit of yeah, I get it, blank, right? Shut that shit down, you know, because there is a certain hype to be able to say, like, oh, you know, I don't eat for flavor, bro. I eat for performance, right? You're not supposed to enjoy your food. You're supposed to enjoy what your food does for you. Which, I mean, to an extent, a little bit true, but you don't have to be that rigid with it either, right? I mean, getting back into like the general perception of things, I'd say 99% of people, when they think of dieting, they just think of like fucking getting starved with just chicken and rice and broccoli kind of meals. It's like, dude, it's not that cut and dry. You can have if you're really dying for it, you can have some treats in between if you balance it out, right? I mean, I'm not going to say you can eat only treats, of course. It's just not going to work, at least not as easily. But you know, if you get a sweet tooth, you can still be in a deficit and give yourself that that kind of food sort of reward. But it really is kind of a moderation kind of thing like that. But I'm sure we'll see a lot more dieting, new year, new me kind of stuff in about, what would that be? Yeah, about 2.5 months from now, almost 3 months from now. Yeah, and guess what? The same guys are going to be doing the same shit. You know, I'm going to lock it in this year. And then guess what? Right? I think we already know the end of that fucking story. But I think that's all I got to say there. Successful leg day, which is now going to be turned into, or at least for me today, what I presume to be a highly successful chest day, and then a successful back day, and an arm day, and a leg day again, and the loop will repeat until I'm, well, I don't know what body fat percentage, but let's just say lean to keep it simple. So I'll see you tomorrow for chest.